Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duck Bricks. I'm Chris, and LEGO has not only just revealed the brand new Lamborghini Countach, but they've also sent over a copy for me to review, which is super exciting because I'm a big fan of these creator expert icon styled cars, and this is one of the most iconic movie and TV cars, of course appearing in the Fast and Furious and the Dark Knight trilogy and so many other pieces of pop culture. This is a really cool build, and I can't wait to display it alongside all of the other incredibly impressive Icons expert builds, which of course I do have mounted on my wall over here, and this will make a fine addition to my collection. And so, without further ado, let's jump on into a review of the brand new Lamborghini Countach set number 10337 with 1,506 pieces. Let's go. Okay, so this is set number 10337, the Lamborghini Countach. It has 1,506 pieces and will retail for around $180 on July 1st, 2024. This is not the first time we have gotten this exact car and the exact color from LEGO, because we actually did get this as a Speed Champion set of the same name, but obviously this one is much bigger, much more detailed, scaled up to be in scale with many of the other creator expert and icon style vehicles, and is simply one of the most detailed cars LEGO has put out. I really love, first of all, how they've captured so many of the unique pieces of shaping for the model itself. New elements were literally created for the wheel arches of this set to allow it to capture that iconic and distinctive curve. Whereas you can see, this piece right here is brand new for this particular set, made just for this, for that curve there. And the same goes for this larger back curve, which is super interesting how they actually had the budget to do that. And not only that, but they also did it for the windscreen as well. Now, I'm going to start off this review by just showcasing the different things that you can do with the model itself, taking a look at the 360-degree view as you rotate the car all the way around, seeing the distinctive back headlights here, which have a really nice wedge-shaped pattern, and just really marvel at the shaping and detail of the vehicle itself. So first and foremost, obviously the most important part of a model like this is arguably the butterfly doors. So, as you can see, the doors open upwards like this, and it's actually a really clever mechanism too. There is a rubber band that's hidden inside of the model where if you look super closely, you might be able to see it just in there that allows you to actually facilitate the opening and closing of the door. So as you close it downwards, it just kind of snaps shut and brings the front of it into place, but you can also just open it super smoothly by just lifting it up like so. And it is so satisfying to do that. The gull wing doors are just really nice in the way that they open up very satisfyingly and just open up like so. And there you have it. You can see the rich dark red interior of the model itself. One thing I want to call out when building this model is that everything feels incredibly premium. There is literally a brand new printed 1x6 brick on the inside of the model. They did not even need to include that level of detail, but they chose to anyway, and that is a specially printed piece. And you can even have the steering wheel rotate as you actually move the wheels back and forth. So obviously it is a very limited range of motion because there's not a ton you can do with it, but they actually do have the steering wheel hooked up to the wheels, which is very nice. Specialized exclusive Lamborghini print on the steering wheel there. And overall, just feeling very premium with all of the prints factored in. Also on the inside of the model, you have the gear shifter here, which is a nice piece inclusion there. Nice dark red elements overall. And then as you zoom outwards, you can see even more detail out on the front of the vehicle. I'm going to close the doors up right now so you can see they just kind of click into place, sliding forwards and backwards. It's actually a surprisingly complex mechanism to do this, where you actually have everything slide forwards into place. It's not just opening up and down, because you really have a seamless connection when the door closes. But on the front here, of course, you have the Lamborghini logo, which is printed on. You have two of these prints over here for the front of the vehicle itself, and there's even more printed elements kind of scattered around the build itself. So you have this back license plate being printed, you have the logos on the back being fully printed on 1x3 bricks, everything just adding on to that premium experience. One other thing that you can actually do with this that not a lot of creator expert or icon style vehicles do is once you lift up the back hood here, you can actually see the full model of the engine, which is really nice. And you can obviously see that's where the car got its name. So it totally makes sense to include the engine here. But I love how you can even see the wiring and the different layers of tubes going on the inside of the car itself. That's just a really nice touch and just really nicely shaped thanks to the inclusion of these relatively new slope elements. This slope right here was just introduced in Speed Champions this year. Same for these 1x2 flat slopes, which are so useful. Super happy we're getting those as pieces, and just all sorts of really great new elements as well, such as these 1x2 wedge elements right here. Just super nice to get those in such good detail overall. Now, the shaping of the car is probably one of the most important and iconic parts when it comes to replicating a vehicle like this, especially a very iconic vehicle that has appeared in countless pieces of pop culture, in media, and so on, and I'm happy to report that the shaping is really, really nicely done. The only minor complaint I do have is that when you are building the front headlights here, it does tend to sometimes have a gap being formed right here, and really it just depends on how you actually have things tightened up. All of these are attached via bar connections, so everything should be just fully flat out, and the way the instructions do it, they really should be very clean with no sort of gap whatsoever. But just based on how you decide to angle the pieces here and there, it does tend to sometimes induce a gap. It's not a big deal, but it is just something I do want to call out. However, it is really impressive how they were able to capture this very unique curvature for the front headlights here, looking super, super good in the way it's done, so I can't complain too much. The other thing I also want to call out specifically that I was incredibly pleased about with this set in particular is you may notice there are literally no scratches on the windscreen here. And you might be wondering, well, how on earth did LEGO pull that off? Because if you do recall, for a lot of the other large-scale LEGO pieces, when they include these gigantic windscreens, they almost always come in the bag pretty scuffed up. Well, when I was unboxing this, I was happy to report they actually wrapped the piece with this kind of cling stick wrap around it, which basically prevented it from getting scratched up entirely, and then placed that in its own separate bag, meaning that it would almost be impossible to scratch this up even when it's hitting other pieces inside of the box. That care and level of detail in making sure that the pieces don't get scratched really does go to show that, for me, it seems like LEGO is listening to customer feedback, and folks have complained, I have complained many, many times on YouTube and online, and of course I'm sure they've heard customer complaints as well when windscreens like this come just thrown into a bag, or just even in like a regular bag with no cling wrap around it, and they come scuffed up. They seem to have actually solved the problem here, which is really, really nice. It is a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one, to actually have this come in literally perfect condition. And I'm really happy that that's the case, and hope they continue to do that for more models, especially models that are kind of these adult level, expert level style of builds. Moving onwards, of course, there are some really nice even hidden prints here. Like that is a printed 1x2 tile that's literally just plain black printed on it, just to capture that level of detail and door there. And overall, it's just absolutely beautifully shaped. They, yes, did have to come up with 2 new pieces for the set, which some people could consider cheating maybe for the wheel arches on the side here. But honestly, I feel like those pieces are pretty ubiquitous in the LEGO system, and they're just simply going to be really useful pieces to have in general to add on to the system itself. So I am absolutely not complaining about that, and absolutely by far the coolest thing about the set to me is how they were able to capture the back of the vehicle. This is so clean. I just love the way the angles look on this. You have using the newer slope elements to really capture the backlights, and then this very unique kind of angled shaping around it. The Speed Champions set also, of course, given it was Speed Champions, pulled this off on a smaller scale, which arguably is even more impressive. But this just looks so good. It feels like the pieces are custom made for this despite using just standard LEGO pieces, and I'm a big fan of how they pulled that off. So overall, the amount of detail factored into this build is beautiful. I love the shaping, I love the curvature. It is, simply put, one of the best LEGO Icons vehicles we've ever gotten. Sometimes they're a little hit or miss, sometimes they don't fully capture the shaping of the vehicle, but after looking at pictures of the vehicle online and from what I remember of it in pop culture and movies, this is really good. The only downside is, I guess, maybe the turn radius is like non-existent. Like, this is basically, it can't really turn, but it's really only for show anyway. This is absolutely a display model and not really a play model, and because of that, I'm really happy with how they pulled this off. For the price of $180, Given the amount of stuff you get, it is admittedly a little bit high. I will say 150 feels about fair for this. So 180 I do think is a little too high. Would I have paid 180? I mean, I would have, but don't listen to me because I'm crazy and I buy everything. Would the average consumer feel happy with paying 180 for this and feeling like they got $180 worth of value? I don't know. I think they definitely feel like they got $150 worth of value, arguably even 160. And if you really like the car, if you really like the curvature, if you really like how the functions work, and if you're a big fan of Lamborghinis in general, you probably will like this more than the average person. And maybe then you can feel like 180 is worth it. But I gotta say, 180 for this is a little high. It is a little too high for my taste. That is just, of course, how I feel, so do let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. But aside from the price, everything else about this vehicle is just so perfect. It's hard to fault it on just that because the build itself is beautiful. And that's all I have to say for this car build. Hope you enjoyed this early review of a LEGO Icons car. And if you want to see me do more reviews of vehicles like this, of course, let me know in the comments because this is kind of the first time I've covered a vehicle like this on the channel. So I hope you enjoy. I do have no control over what LEGO sends me for review, so they just kind of decided to send me this. Thank you to LEGO for doing that, although of course all views expressed in this review have been my own. But of course I can ask LEGO to send me more stuff like this if this does well, and if people want to see more reviews of vehicles like this. So let me know, and thanks so much for watching. Alright, and with that, we have summed up our look at this brand new LEGO Icons vehicle set. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of the build? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you feel like it's worth the price you have to pay? And I hope you enjoyed this early LEGO review. Definitely stay tuned for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon, and bye for now.